Today I'm here with Aladdin.
Hello,
and you know
everybody.
what? He promised me 3 wishes, but then he got here, he told me he forgot his lamp. I'm sure you've never heard that joke, right?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah,
Especially here in Russia.
Oh, in Russia?
You know, Aladdin, the fairy tale is huge.
Yeah.
And whenever I meet somebody first time, he's like, where's the lamp? Where's Jasmine? Yeah. And they say the same thing. It's the first time you heard this, right? I go like, yes, of course. It's the first time.
So like for costume parties, your wife ever dress up like Jasmine?
Ha!
We went to a costume party, and because I look like Gru, I dressed up like Gru. My wife dressed up like Lucy, and my daughter dressed up as a minion.
Wow.
I'll show you the picture later, yeah.
Okay.
that was really cool.
Looking forward to it.
So tell us a bit about yourself. You're here in Russia. Obviously, the Kremlin kidnapped you and brought you here because no one comes here voluntarily.
Exactly. That's
So,
what happened. So basically, I moved to Russia in 2019.
And from where?
Came here to study. I'm Algerian myself. Grew up, raised and born in Algeria. So yeah, that's when my journey began.
And why'd you move here? And
I just wanted to get out of my comfort zone because I entered medical university in Algeria. Had good grades during school. I was practicing sports. I had everything fine. But you know, you want to move to another city, explore new things, learn about new cultures, develop yourself
but
personally.
why Russia? Why not America? Because
professionally.
everybody wants to go to America. Everybody knows that the whole world wants to go to America. So why not America?
Exactly. Well, first of all, the US is expensive in terms of tuition fees, student loans, and so on. That's one reason. The second reason is I was really interested in the Russian Federation. It might sound weird, like how is this possible? But I was really interested in the culture, in history, and I never regret it. I feel good.
And how much does the Kremlin pay you to spew this propaganda?
Trust me, nothing.
Okay.
So I came here, first I was in Vladikavkaz, a city in North Ossetia or Ossetia, call it as you wish. And I stayed there for 6 months, learned the Russian language.
In 6 months, you learned it?
I would say my Russian in 6 months was very good. And just in 2 years, I got the second place in the International Olympiad of the Russian language as a foreign language.
Oh, wow. You like won a lot of awards, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And
I heard you met somebody very famous as well. I heard you met Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I did meet President Putin
Wow.
last March
Tell
when
us
we
about
were
that.
in the...
Repeat that, just so everybody got who you met here.
Yeah. So I met
You met who?
Vladimir Putin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
In March. So there was the World Youth Festival and I was invited. Since I have a lot of achievements, I was the best foreign student in Russia in 2022. So I went there. There were a lot of celebrities and politicians, and Putin was one of them. So I had the chance to meet him. He's very charismatic, and I really liked his speech because he gave a speech to the youth. And despite liking some political things or not, his charisma is very high. And you can take example of that. You can get inspired of some of the things he says.
And so like here, I mean, you have a girlfriend, wife.
I'm married.
Oh, married, okay.
I'm married. I got married a year ago. So yeah,
And
23 years old, married.
Yeah, to Algerian, Russian, Muslim, Christian. Tell us
My
about your
wife
wife a
is
little bit.
Russian. She's Muslim.
Okay.
So yeah,
And which part of Russia is she from?
she's from Mariel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for our viewers who don't know where that is, where is that from?
This is a republic next to Tatarstan, and its capital is called Yoshkar-Ola. It's from the Mari language. It means the Red City.
Because a lot of people, a lot of foreigners aren't even aware that there's Muslims in Russia.
Of course, there are actually 158 nationalities in Russia and even more minorities. Not only Slavic people live here. And many republics, as far as I know, it's 18 Muslim republics. Tatarstan, Chechnya, Dagestan, and many others.
And so as a Muslim, you feel welcome throughout Russia then? And
Yeah, of course. I never face issues in terms... There's diversity here, and I don't even go into deep conversations about theology unless a person is genuinely interested. So I never find a problem to adapt to different cultures. So
But,
yeah, I felt
like,
welcome here.
When you travel to the non-Muslim parts of Russia, then like St. Petersburg, and we have a large Muslim population here, but it's
Yeah.
predominantly Orthodox here. I mean, you feel okay? You don't feel...
Of course, the same as in my republic, the republic where I live in, it's not Muslim at all, and there's no huge diversity there because most of the people who live there are locals. So you rarely find any foreigners out there. It's not like Moscow or St. Petersburg when there's a huge population that is non-Russian. So yeah, I feel welcomed, I feel fine, and I'm living it.
And how about all the sanctions, though? Because all I hear from my Western audience is that Russia is such a horrible place because of the sanctions, and they don't know how we live here under the sanctions, and that we're all suffering, and Russia is going to collapse, although according to the internet, this must be the slowest collapse in history because Russia's been collapsing for, 10 years now, but how's the collapse affecting you?
Yeah, to be honest, it's a bit challenging if we talk about some international trips when you don't have it's not convenient, you don't have your international payment cards and so on. However, there's nothing going on that foreigners think about. I mean, the people who don't live in Russia, they say that here it's dangerous, it's not calm, the sanctions are killing us. It's not true at all. We're living a good life, a decent life. It's very calm. And the quality of life didn't get low, so...
So you think it'd be safe for
good.
Other North Africans to come visit here?
Of
as
course,
tourists?
of course, yes.
So you would definitely tell people from Egypt and Morocco and Algeria and those areas,
Yes, what's funny, whenever I travel, I was lately in Hong Kong and people were telling me, how's the war there? I was like, there's no war in Russia. Everything is calm. So people sometimes get influenced by the Western media, but the things are not true. They have to come and discover that by themselves. I'm not saying that subjectively because I have no benefit of saying that whatsoever because I'm a foreigner myself either. So yeah, I'm saying what I feel, I'm saying what I see, and I'm expressing what I personally live.
Is there anything you don't like about Russia or something you really miss from home or another country? Is there anything that kind of bugs you or you miss?
I think I'm going to divide your question in two parts.
Yeah, that's fine.
The first one is whether I miss home or not. I miss something about home. Of course, that's my homeland. That's my culture. That's the country where I lived in. That's my friends, my family, especially my family, my parents. If we talk about Russia, whether I don't like things about it, if I did not like something about Russia, I wouldn't be here.
But there's got to be, I'm just saying,
satisfied.
there's something. I mean, overall, I understand you're happy here, but if there was something you had to pick out that you didn't like or something, is there something that irritates you or?
No.
No?
I feel good, genuinely.
So the lack of a real Western Snickers bar doesn't bother you?
Look, in every country, there are advantages and disadvantages, but overall, this country is great. And that's my comment. That's my only comment.
I try and tell people the same thing, but people they're convinced that I secretly work for the Kremlin or something.
I understand totally.
I'm just telling you about my life in Russia. I'm not trying to propagandize anything. I walk down the street or I go into a grocery store and I just show the prices of groceries like propagandist. I'm just showing you the prices of groceries. I mean, I don't have an agenda other than just to break down Western propaganda.
Yeah.
I mean, we have propaganda. Everybody has propaganda.
Of course.
The problem is the Western people don't understand their propaganda is so much more subtle. It's built into the Hollywood movies. And so they don't understand, their propaganda is not as easy to spot.
Yeah. Look, people tend to criticize what they don't believe in. And that's a common thing. But I saw an interview the other day of Russia's president, and I really liked this one. He was speaking to a journalist, and he was telling, she was challenging him. This is the modern journalism, but he was like, look, if you want me to say the same things that you're saying and you want me to fit into your agenda, just tell me, I will shut up. But if you want to hear my opinion, you gotta let me speak.
Yeah.
Because doing propaganda is easy. And again, when I say things about Russia or when you say things about Russia, we're foreigners as well. We're not Russians. We have all the right to do so. And we speak how we live, what we feel about Russia. And if we're here, it means we're comfortable. And some people, not all of them, don't like to hear that. But it's the reality.
And how big is the city that you live in? What's the population?
It's small, only 300,000 people live there, so
Okay.
it's relatively small comparing to other big Russian cities. It's calm, not like St. Petersburg, but yeah, you can find some people with a cool mindset, and I'm feeling fine there.
And how long did it take you to get used to not having an indoor toilet?
And what? That's the first time I've heard of this.
All the time, my comments are always full of, yeah, but if you go 20 miles outside of Moscow, only Moscow and St. Petersburg are good. The rest of the country is horrible. People don't have indoor toilets, and there's this myth that, so I always kind of joke about this.
Yeah, that's not true, actually. I've been to more than
Did you have to bring your toilet with you from Algeria when you moved here?
Yeah, that's exactly
Is that why
what I did.
your wife married you, because you came with a toilet?
So, I've traveled to more than 20 Russian cities.
And how many of them didn't have
never-
toilets?
Only St. Petersburg did, can you
Okay.
imagine? So,
You know that's why we invaded Ukraine, to get the toilets, right?
that's a good one.
It's a toilet war.
That's a good
That's the whole
one.
reason. That's the whole reason that Ukraine. That's the whole reason that Russia went into Ukraine, is just to get toilets.
Don't spread all of our secrets to
our
the
secrets,
world.
yeah,
Come
yeah.
on.
The Ukrainian toilets are the best. I had to cover up the Ukrainian flag on my toilet.
So, as I was saying, I traveled to more than 20 Russian cities, and
Oh,
I've
by the
never
way,
faced any
I know I'm
issues.
interrupting you, but I want to tell you a secret. I have 3 toilets
Wow, crazy.
over my quota.
Stop the madness.
Yeah. I think it's illegal, but okay, go ahead.
All the cities are different. They're unique, and it's like a continent. Russia is very
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
I came once to St. Petersburg by the train from Yuzhkar-Ola, and it took me 2.5 days.
Mm-hmm.
By this time, you can travel the whole Europe, right?
Almost. Yeah.
So it's crazy. It's a huge country.
I mean, yeah, Europe's a bit big. Yeah, 2.5 hours. So, in a lot of European countries, that would take you across.
Not
the country
hours,
minimum.
but 2.5
2.5
days.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
not
you're right.
Hours.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not hours.
Sorry,
It's
yeah.
days.
Yeah.
If you go
But
to
that's only because the train was so slow. It only goes 10 kilometers an hour. It's pulled by donkeys,
now,
right?
come on, it goes really fast. And from Moscow, I get your joke. I get what you're saying. You're getting along with those comments. But you go from Moscow to Vladivostok, it takes you a week probably.
Yeah.
And that's a time where you can travel the whole continent, another continent. So, you see?
Yeah. So you've traveled quite a bit
Russia is
around
unique.
Russia.
Yes, I did.
And
And,
you
I
don't-
still do. And
And you don't have to
going
carry your
do so.
toilet with you everywhere. They have them, right? I'm sorry.
It depends. I see you like the toilet thing.
It's my commenters that like it. They will not. If you go through my comments, the number of toilet comments in there
Yeah,
is just it's insane. It's just
The internet is something. The internet is some place where sometimes weird things happen. So I guess people sometimes just joke about it.
But the thing is, since the this whole political thing started, the war and everything, it's just the propaganda on the Western side has become so crazy that there used to be jokes, but now, I mean, a lot of people in America actually believe this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I even call back to friends and family, and they're believing this stuff. They're
Yeah.
literally, the stuff that they believe is just, I have trouble believing that they believe this stuff. But then even I watch the Western news program, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I mean, they complain about our propaganda, but oh my gosh, we got nothing on them.
There's something in psychology. When you start repeating the same lies to yourself, you're gonna start actually believing them. So I'm not surprised. This thing that has been happening all the time, and it's not something new. So, yeah,
It's almost like they're dogpiling in Russia. I mean, it's one thing to have opposing views on politics of the war, but
Sure.
they're completely dumping on Russia culture, Russia people. And then when you even speak out like, yeah, but so what? You're at war. It's like, okay, but they were in
war
they
defender.
they were in Iraq for how long? And people didn't dump on Americans as people. It's like, imagine if we've hit the same standard now, and it was during Iraq. Imagine if I posted, like I was a tourist and I posted a video of the Statue of Liberty. Imagine if half the comments were, yeah, but you're in Iraq right now. I mean, it's just, I post videos on just a church or something, and half my comments are like, get out of Ukraine, you child killers. And it's like, not everything is about politics, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's politics, and then there's people, and there's culture, and they're not always connected.
You're on point, actually. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And speaking about Russians, I work with them, I study with them, and I never feel like what I see usually in the comments what you're speaking about. They're cool. It depends on the person. It doesn't depend on the nation. And if you have an opposing views, you don't have to throw that at the nation or at the civilians, just thinking they all support and have the same views. So politics is politics.
Does your wife look like Princess Jasmine, by the way?
Well, she's my Princess Jasmine.
Of course.
She is.
I want to bring up just short, and I know you're not from Saudi Arabia, but I told you I used to travel a lot to Saudi Arabia and things, and so like even I had certain misconceptions. I mean, things that I never even really thought about, like from the West, like when Westerners often think about like Saudi Arabia or things, they think that under the burqa they're all like Princess Jasmine, right? Because Disney, it's kind of a good stereotype, if you will.
Well.
And so one time I went to Saudi Arabia, and it was like my second or third trip. And I'm in the airport, and most of them are pretty slender and stuff. And actually, I mean, you know this, underneath, a lot of them are hot, they're dressed to the T's underneath, because when they're home, they take it off and they're dressed very nicely under the burqas very often. It's not like they're just wearing a t-shirt under there usually. But I got to an airport one time, and I just always had this, they're all like Princess Jasmine, and I saw like 150 kilogram woman come down through the airport.
Well, I'm
not saying it's common, I'm not picking up, but I'm just saying it kind of blew my misconceptions, because I had never thought, I thought like, all of them must be skinny and pretty. And then when I saw a 150 kilogram woman coming down, look like a floating tent, it kind of just blew my preconception about something one time. It just, short little things. Like the first time I talked to a black person with a British accent when I was very young, blew my mind kind of too, because although black people I knew had American accents, and I knew the ones that spoke foreign, but I'd never heard an English speaking black person with a British accent. And they're small little things, but it's just kind of interesting things that I had happened.
I want to comment this. You also spoke about Saudi Arabia. I was there lately. There are a lot of misconceptions and stereotypes about it. The country is lovely. People there are lovely.
Fantastic.
It is in the G20. It's developing in a very high rate. So I support Saudi, and I love it.
I mean, I haven't been, when I was in Saudi, it was pre-MBS, so it was much more restricted than now. And I have friends from Saudi who've told me about the changes. But even when I went there, it was it was a great place to visit.
Yeah.
And I mean, I made many friends there, and I really did enjoy my trips.
Yeah.
Not a place I wanted to live at that time, but I did enjoy my trips there, and I really enjoyed the people and the food. And
for me, Saudi Arabia, and for all Muslims, it's our holy land. It is the country for us. You see.
Yeah.
Apart from that, economically, in terms of technology, it is developing at a high rate, and I'm happy for this.
Yeah, it's not like, if you were to ask most Americans what Saudi Arabia is like, I mean, I'm just telling you what their perception is. Mine, they would think, okay, they ride camels and live in tents.
Yeah,
and
that's what they think.
It's nothing like that. I mean, it's very modern, and the cities are, of course, the houses are built differently,
of course,
for the heat and so forth. But they're very modern, and in many ways, especially now, much more progressive.
Exactly.
So, anything that you want to just completely add in? I mean, I've been asking most of the questions here, but what would you want to tell? And again, I have an audience from all over the world, but what would you want to get out or break misconceptions about Russia or Algeria or anywhere else, or anything you want to add on your own?
Yeah, I just want to say that I've been commenting and I've been answering your questions directly. I was honest about them. Now I'm gonna address another point. I understand people when they write stuff. I understand why they believe some things are real about Russia, some misconceptions, or about the Arab world, or about the Muslim world. It's a common thing, because when we're not sure about something, we naturally tend to criticize it in a negative manner. Some people are well educated, and this is a good thing, but sometimes where all people around you, all the environment, even your own government, the whole continent that you live in, I'm speaking about the West here, I understand where they're coming from, and I understand their beliefs, I understand their vision, their mission, and with most of the things, the idea, this idea of unity, this idea of freedom, of democracy, I understand all of that, and most of it, I like it, right? If we talk about the vision of it, not the practical aspects of it, right? Not the double standards and the hypocrisy
like the misunderstanding
part.
of Sharia law. People don't understand that either.
Of course.
To them, it's like to Western world, it's like a swear word. They say Sharia, and they think it's like, oh my gosh, and they don't understand what it actually is.
Exactly, and words like Islam, Islamic, Muslim, these kind of stuff, and
they all think you all have 10 wives and things.
Yeah, and once they hear Russia, it associates with the war with them. I was in Dubai like a couple of months ago, and this one of the colleagues was saying she's European, I guess she's from the UK, and she was asking me, why do you live in Russia? Like, you're Algerian, why do you live there? People there are brutal. And they speak also about the people, even though they don't know. And even if they had experiences with expats that move from Russia to their countries, they don't always represent the whole nation. As in the US, when you find some people who are not good in the common sense, you don't like say that all America is bad or all the UK is bad just because there's some party or some people who are not behaving well, right? Now in London, for example, there are many people with the machetes riding a scooter or a motorbike and stealing phones. That doesn't mean that the whole UK is like that, right? Or in France, for example, a lot of stealing and so on. Or in America, when you find people doing drugs and so on. That doesn't mean that the whole nation is like that. So doing and thinking about and believing stereotypes is not a good thing because it doesn't get you anywhere. It's good to be open to new ideas.
Unless you're a politician and you have an agenda to spread a stereotype.
Well, exactly. So if you're open to new ideas, new cultures, you want to learn, you don't stop and you think you know everything. If you start believing that you know everything, that's it. You stop developing. You will live in a box and you never think outside the box. So it's always better
in America, some people do actually live in a box.
Yes,
and that's the thing.
Not
they have
only
a huge
in
homeless
America.
problem. I know, but America has a monstrous homeless problem that even a lot of people in Russia and even the Arab world, they can't understand the scope of homelessness that exists in the United States right now. It's just, it's unfathomable to them because in Russia, we have a right to housing. And in most of the Muslim world, because of the religion, they will be taken care of in one way or the other.
Of course, in the Muslim world, everybody takes care of the one who's in need. And I got to say something because we're speaking about a category of people that talk about peace all the time, right? We want peace. Why are you starting war? If you want peace, you have to start listening to others. You have to start knowing that not all people are the same. You have to start discussing, debating in a good manner, not silencing people, not canceling people as they did to you, right? You told me about your story. This is, that doesn't get humanity anywhere.
Just communication among cultures.
Communication is very important, and people have to stop believing that they're the best.
Absolutely.
We're the best nation. We're the best this. We're the best that.
Everybody's
we're
unique
the
in their own
leaders
way, but
of the world.
you don't have. Not everybody can be the best. It might even be the best for some person.
Exactly.
So everybody might have their own country's best for them, but it doesn't mean it's the best for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So this critical thinking of your own thinking is sometimes important, not to get to some kind of depression or something about it. No, you have to think before saying something, before offending someone, before having an opinion about something. And also, when you adopt an opinion, you have to be ready to defend it, right? You don't just adopt an opinion and just throw it out there and you have no proof. As you told me about toilets, it's like, what's this level? Some people, you find them, they're smart, but they're saying such things. I mean, academically, maybe they're smart. You have always to learn, to study, and not only look from one source, because the media is brutal. The media sometimes says things that I'm talking about mainstream media. So you don't have to look from only your side. You have to look at the other side. And that's where you can come to a compromise, right?
That's why I read news sources from many sides. Even if I don't agree with them, I try and see the differing opinions, even if some of those opinions are quite odious to me.
Exactly. And one thing I want to say, why, for example, America got this huge level of development? Because there are a lot of foreigners and they knew how to, even if it's in a small place or an environment or a company.
They also had some forced employment of African people.
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is there should be no difference regarding nation, skin color, and so on. And also, they don't have to enforce that in a company or something. All they should be from different.
Yeah, where you have forced diversity.
Yes. No.
Do you feel that in Russia, it's in general? I mean, of course, every place on the planet has some sort of discrimination or racism. You can never completely eliminate it. But within Russia, do you think they're doing a pretty good job as far as, between the religions, Christians, Muslims, between the skin colors? Do you think they do a decent job here, or is it?
The short answer is yes. And I'm going to explain more a bit on that. I'm going to start from my own personal experience. Well, first of all, I study with the Russians and with other nationalities. If we talk about the university or the universities in Russia, many people from different countries come to study. They're welcomed here. Regarding my work, I work in a very good company with colleagues with the same mindset I have. I work internationally, so it's very cool. I never faced any problems regarding to what you mentioned as racism or something. No.
And not discrimination based on religion either, or?
Look. Always you find people who think like that, not only in Russia or in my country or in America, but the good way to go is just you don't have to pay attention to that, because you have your people who you share your ideas and thoughts with, and people are of a different level. If a person is tending to be a racist or a discriminator, it's his own problem. And usually,
unless they're a manager or hiring or in a government position or a position of power.
Well, exactly. And this we don't notice. If you read the Russian law, it has nothing that is discriminating. And that's the good thing about it.
And how does it defend against discrimination, though? If somebody in a position of power was discriminating or whatever, are there defenses against that? Do you see a lot of that?
I've never faced any issues like that, but I believe that when somebody faces real issues regarding to racism or discrimination, the law will take care of this. I'm gonna just come back to the racist part. The way I view it is that I'm gonna tell you something about racists. So racists usually have internal complexes and discriminators as well. And even if we talk about a younger generation, we call that bullying, right? The same thing. It comes from internal complexes. So you have internal problems and you're translating them to the world or to the person you're speaking with. So whenever a person is racist towards you, just don't have to pay attention to that. It's his fault, it's his problem. He's the racist, not me.
Well, I mean, even today, right now, we're sitting with an American, Caribbean, Algerian, Peruvian, Mexican, Israeli, Russian.
Exactly.
That's who's around the table right now.
Yeah.
And so,
who cares where you're from? Who cares about that? If I share like some thoughts about you, share some thoughts with you, have some discussions, learn new things, you learn new things. That's the way we can improve, right? That's the way we can develop. And from a personal thing, it develops into nations, right? Because nations is formed by individuals. If the individuals know how to communicate, the nation will know how to communicate with the other nation. That's how it should work, right?
Yeah.
So I have never faced issues, and I don't believe at all in this idea of one country is racist, one country is not racist, unless if we talk about the higher management, the government, and so on. But in the modern world, it's rare to find any country that has that written in the law that they are racist or discriminators, right?
Yeah, it's just some of them still practice it even if it's not law.
Exactly. if we talk, like we say Russia is racist, how about America? They always talk about illegal immigrants coming from Mexico. I'm not saying this is a good thing that they're coming from there. I'm just saying that in every country, there are some problems related to illegal immigration, related to this, related to that.
People don't understand that Russia has a lot of illegal immigration, because I get comments all the time like, yeah, but Russia doesn't have any illegal immigration because nobody wants to go to Russia. And I have to explain to them that we do have a lot of it.
Yeah, they do.
From the former Soviet republics and things.
Exactly.
We have a big illegal immigration problem here, and they do round up people and deport them.
Yeah, look, the problem with illegal immigration is not an issue of racism. This is an issue just of obeying the law and...
Here it is. In other countries it may not be, but here, no, it's absolutely just if you overstay your visa, you've broken the law and they just want to deport you. It's not about where you came from.
Yes,
it's about if your status is legal or not.
So if you're legal here, you will not face problems. You have your rights, same as the rights of a citizen. And people should know that.
I mean, this is just a small example, but there was a fire a couple months ago in town. And as you know, a lot of the janitorial staff, like Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, a lot of them are Russian Mexicans, kind of. You know, they come for work and they do a lot of they do a lot of higher jobs too. Some of them are dentists and doctors, but a lot of the lower positions are filled with people from the lower republics because they have a better opportunity to work a low job here than they do in their own country.
Okay.
So, you know, the street cleaners and janitors. So a lot of the buildings, anyways, there was a fire and the fire department came, but they couldn't quite get there. And a guy, maybe wrong, I think he's from Uzbekistan, he climbed up the drain pipe and rescued some old ladies and got them over to the ladder before the fire department came there. And he was giving, you know, the ward of the city and everybody. I mean, everybody was just, they didn't care where he was from, and they were just so proud. And, you know, it was like, hey, they celebrated that. They would have celebrated him no matter what, but they really celebrated the fact that, hey, he was a foreigner too. And they celebrated the fact that he was a foreigner. It wasn't just like, oh, he's a very good person and he had to be a foreigner. They were like, look, he did very good and he's even a foreigner. And they made it was a big thing about that, you know, foreigners are a big contribution to society here as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. One of the things that I should say about this whole situation, starting from the West, I love the West because the West is bringing on some technological development and they're doing good economically. They presented some systems that without them we cannot live the life we're living right now, yes, in terms of comfort, in terms of development in different industries. So the West is great in this matter. However, if we talk about Russia, if we talk about some other countries, the United Arab Emirates, which is on fire right now, right?
Dubai, UAE is a country.
Yeah.
But most Americans think it's Dubai. So
It's
Dubai is a city.
Yeah.
And one of the Emirates of the UAE, but if you don't know where the UAE is, we're talking about Dubai and the country Dubai is in.
Yeah, also Saudi Arabia. So all of these stereotypes. Now China as well. Now Russia is the 5th economy in the world.
Once you bring in PPP, yes.
Yeah. So if we talk about this, we talk about the fact that in the West it's good, but here it's also good. In the United Arab Emirates it's also good. They're all, and we're all contributing to the development of this world so that we make it better for ourselves, for the next generations, for our kids, grandchildren, and so on. That's why it's not fair and it's not good to try to set up people so that they speak bad things about Russia and China and the Middle East just for you to fit and develop your agenda and your ideas. And I'm gonna say this. Many people, whenever I travel, try to set me up so that I say bad things about Russia. I will never do that. Never, ever, ever. It's the same.
That's because the Kremlin pays you too much.
It's the
Once you
same.
met Putin, he gave you that stack of cash, and he's like, you have to say good things about Russia.
Give me a break. Here in Russia, if
Did he pay you in euros or useless rubles?
Here in Russia, if they try to also let me say bad things about the West, I'm most likely not going to say that. The only thing I can comment about is some kind of hypocrisy because I'm affected personally because, for example, if we talk about France, right? The Western free leader, etc., etc., the same thing the US says all the time. They colonized us for 132 years and now they're coming and trying to teach us how to live the right life. I can speak about that because my grandparents had personal experience with this, right? And they have no right to teach me how to live or what's the right way to live, right? I can learn from them the things that they're good at. Technology, economy, healthcare, these
Colonization.
things. Sorry. So it goes both ways.
Food,
in Russia,
cooking,
I will not say
cooking,
bad
right?
things. In Russia, I will
Algerian
not.
food is awesome, by the way.
It is the best.
Yeah, Algerian
you should
food,
try it.
Yeah, Algerian food is really. I'm not making a joke about that. North African food, and I mean North Africa has a common type of food. Algerian has its own specific food. They're related, but it is truly awesome.
Awesome. So the bottom line is, in Russia, I'm not saying bad things about the West just because they want me to do so. I will say the things that I believe in, right? I love the West. I don't like the hypocrisy of some Westerners. Not all of them, but
A lot of
a
them.
high percentage of
High
them.
percentage of them. That's
Okay. In the West,
Sorry.
and you're fine?
Yeah, fine.
Awesome. In the West, even if I move there, there is a chance I will move someday to the West.
Please don't.
I will not.
Do whatever makes you happy and is good for you.
I will not say bad things about Russia in the West. They will not do because I don't believe that.
We just want to
this.
keep you're a top student. We want to keep your intellect on this side.
So, bottom line is we should be world citizens.
Yes, I agree.
Metaphorically, even though I know that will never happen, but we should be accepting, we should be good, we should really translate the things that are written in those states that sometimes are unfortunately hypocrite. It's just some words written on paper, but in reality they do other stuff. If we really stick to those good laws, those good visions, we will really, really develop in a much faster rate than what we're doing right now, because wasting money on wars,
Yes.
on wasting energy commenting about toilets, as you mentioned, we don't have to waste
It's
our
not unifying.
energy on that.
Toilets are not a unifying subject. They're a very divisive subject. Does it swirl to the right or swirl to the left? That's a big controversy. Now, I've had the advantage of traveling to almost 70 countries, most of them many times.
Awesome.
I've had the advantage of working in the Middle East, so I've been to most of the countries in the Middle East. Not all of them. I have not been to Syria or Yemen, but I've been to pretty much all the other ones, or Iraq. But as a Muslim, what is the number one stereotype that you would want to help break down, especially for people in the West, especially America? And if they still have these stereotypes, if they don't have the ability to travel, or maybe are too scared to maybe travel to the Middle East to meet, a large Muslim culture, what would you encourage them to do? Should they be scared to walk into a mosque and just say, hey, I have to be honest, I don't have the best opinions about Muslims, but I want to learn something? Would they be, I don't know, killed for that, or beaten, or chased out of the mosque, or would they be, what would you recommend?
Come on, give me a
I
break.
know, but I'm telling you their kind of perception.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I am mocking a little bit, but I'm not mocking you. I'm trying to explain to you the perception of many
Totally.
people.
I understand that because I speak to people, I see what's happening on the internet, and as I said, whenever you have an opinion, you adopt an opinion, you have to defend it. And
But if I was an American in America and I had I didn't hate Muslims, but I just kind of had this kind of weird fear of them or whatever.
exactly.
I mean, but I couldn't afford, or I was too scared to go to the Middle East. What would you suggest to somebody that maybe has a bit of an open mind and wants to learn about it? Could they just walk into a mosque one day and say, hey, I don't know much about what's going on here. I'm a little apprehensive, but maybe we could make some peace. And where would you suggest they go to?
I need to comment something because you're from the US and your audience is largely from the US. And I was born in 2001, the year when you traveled to Russia, right? So basically, the year I was born at, there was this 9/11.
Yeah,
So-
I was in St. Petersburg when that happened.
Yeah, so from that, this story started, and they usually link Islam to terrorism. So
Well, now it's Russia. See, Russia's overtaking the Muslims, the bad people. So you kind of have a double because you're kind of Russianish Muslim, but the Muslims should be a little bit happy because now the Russians are the bad guys.
I'm going to comment something regarding this word terrorism. What is terrorism? If you open the dictionary, it's like when you spread terror to get some benefit, right?
Oh, are you okay on time, by the way? I forgot to check that. Okay.
Yeah, I am. So basically, you spread the terror and you get some benefits from that. You kill people, you get money, or you do that for the creator, the god,
or get oil.
This crap that people usually speak about. But when a country does that, or maybe some people in some countries do that, they call them either aggressors or murderers or anything. Even though they spread terrors before doing that, or even if they manipulate you, they can take a hostage, right? They don't call that terrorism. But this is the real definition, because you're spreading terror, you're threatening to kill somebody. This is terrorism, right? Or you're saying there is a bomb if you don't give us something.
It's not terrorism when we do it if it's for oil.
Yes.
If you're after oil and you do it with the military, then it's not terrorism.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I'm speaking about. So it's not the religion. It depends on the people. People can't be terrorists. So can be terrorists, not religions. There is no a religion, there is no a terrorist religion. And in fact, if people get interested about Islam and they open the Quran, they read it, I'm Muslim myself, so it's all about being peaceful. It's all about doing a good job. It's all about performing well. It's all about being a good person and spreading love, spreading joy. There are restrictions in every religion. There are strong restrictions in Islam. But there is a saying that I like. If you tolerate everything, you stand for nothing. We don't tolerate everything in Islam. That's true, but this is our religion. This is what we believe in. Now, speaking about the terror and the killing and so on, there's nothing written about that in Quran. There are wars that happened before, of course, when the Islam got spread and so on and so on. But people need to study that to understand why did that happen.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that, if somebody was a Christian American, they're probably not going to pick up the Quran, and if they did, they probably wouldn't interpret the context. Just like if a Muslim had never seen the Bible, he started reading the Old Testament. In the Bible, he'd read about, slaves are okay.
Exactly.
So my point is, if there was an American who was starting to say, I have a bit of an open mind, and maybe what I have believed about Muslims isn't as true, how would he find a Muslim friend in America? He can't just like posting it, hey, I need a Muslim friend or something. But how would he get some interaction with somebody? I mean, could he go to a mosque and just say, hey, I just, I don't want to become a Muslim, but I just want to understand a little bit more. Do you think the mosque would be open to that? Or where would you suggest somebody like that go?
Exactly. So if you go to the mosque, they will be very happy to talk about Islam and share this information with you.
And maybe even also find you a Muslim friend?
Of course. And in America, there are a lot of Muslim people living. And also, you shouldn't pick that. Like, I need a Muslim friend.
You need a Muslim friend, but somebody you could honestly ask questions about, who's going to be open to the questions. And maybe you become friends. But just say, hey, I want somebody I could talk to, and I want to be able to ask questions that might sound offensive, but I don't mean to be offensive.
Exactly.
And just have an open dialogue. And then, maybe you'll become friends or something.
Exactly. And here we come to the point that we were speaking about. If you're open to discussions, to debates, to talking to other people, you will learn a lot, and you will learn how to accept other opinions. You will learn about other cultures, and you will eventually know that Islam is not about killing people. This religion is not about doing some stuff.
But
this
politicians can always bend religion to their needs.
Yes.
No matter what religion it is.
Exactly.
So you would encourage Americans who might have an open mind just if they were kind of just literally, don't be afraid of the mosque. Just go in and say, hey, I want to become Muslim. I want to learn a little bit about it. I'm not a convert. I just have an open mind. You think they'd be perfectly safe?
Of course. Look, in Islam, there's an order. And this order is, you never have to
They're not going to try and convert them against their will, right?
Yes, you never have to force somebody to convert. Never, ever, ever. You're prohibited from doing that. So you, in your life, we have our beliefs that there is the heaven, there's hell, like in Christianity and Judaism. But people in this life, dunya we call it, now, it depends. People think that there is this, there's that, the life after death. It doesn't matter. You are entitled to live the way you want. Even if you were born a Christian, you were born, for example, a Jew or an atheist or a Muslim, you can live your life. You're entitled to, you have your own choices, your own lifestyle. But then you take responsibility always of your actions. But as a Muslim, we never have to force somebody to convert to our religion. This is prohibited.
So they could come in and ask questions without fear of being forcibly converted.
Of course,
Okay.
of course.
That's what I want to get across. And I know I sound like I'm mocking a little bit. I'm not. I'm just trying to ask slightly probing questions so that I can get your answers to get people to understand.
Totally, I understand you.
You know, and again, because I mean, I have friends that are Buddhist, Muslim, and I lived in the Middle East as well.
Yeah.
So I understand a lot more. I understand quite a bit, actually.
Okay.
But I want Americans who may either have bad stereotypes. I don't speak at the camera at this point. So, and we have talked about many things here. But if you're a Christian, whatever, you have maybe a bad impression about Islam or something, that, you know, it's my opinion, but I wanted to get it from him too, that if you have that, just find a mosque, just call them up one day. If you don't want to walk in, just say, hey, listen, I have no interest in becoming a Muslim. I'm a solid Christian, whatever, but I just want to know a little bit more about your faith and get an understanding. And I think they'd be very receptive to you.
Yeah, and I want to just comment something. For us, for me, for example, as a Muslim, well, I'm also like developed academically, and also I work intellectually, I would say, right? So I always love knowing about new cultures, even religions, and read offensive things about my religion, right? So I read God Delusion the other day, right? And it was saying holy crap about the Islam religion. It was saying and spreading lies about my religion. But why I did it, and why I do read and listen to interviews that say bad things about Islam, is just to understand the perception of other people, right? To understand where they're coming from.
And it can be tough to get into those uncomfortable spaces.
Yes, it is uncomfortable, but you gotta know what other people think, so that when you have conversations with them, you don't get directly offended. You know how they think. It's all right. We have communications, we have debates, and it's all about communication in the end, right? It's all
Find
about
the common ground,
getting along. Even if we disagree on something, we can still sit together and even be friends, right?
Find the common ground. I've had to say that I've always been very open to different religions, different viewpoints, but politically sometimes I would stay away from certain people and certain views because I just didn't want to associate. But in my position now, especially, you know, fugitive and needing help, friends, that I don't give a crap anymore. But I mean, I was always conflicts with religion, but now it's even political. I have friends that have some views that politically are really odious to me. I'm not talking like Nazi level stuff, okay? I mean, I do have a point. It's like I will not associate with certain people. But I have people that have some political opinions that I find pretty offensive. But we're friends. We can sit and have a drink and we can be friends because I've learned that it's more important to have the friendship there and at least try and understand the point of view. And plus, in my situation, I need as many friends as I can get.
Yeah, exactly. Chad, it was nice speaking to you. I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave. I just want to say something to your audience because I just met you yesterday, right? Yeah. And I'm here in St. Petersburg for a few days. It's the 6th time I come here. I love the city. The city is awesome. If you ever come to Russia, come to St. Petersburg. It's the best city. Exactly. So I wish you best of luck in your content creation and all the things that you're doing. I guess I believe you're in a good track. And speaking to Chad's audience, if you ever have questions or something, I guess Chad will tag me in this video.
Yeah, he's on Instagram.
Yeah,
I'm gonna post this on YouTube and other places, but drop in the comments, whatever, and we'll
exactly.
I'll try and post his Instagram handle in one of the comments.
Exactly. You can reach out to me, ask questions. If you have something you want to discuss, I'll be open to it. So see you again someday.
And the last thing I have to say is shukran, inshallah.
Afwan.
Thank you, everybody.